Good morning. We are headed out to the woods. I'm going to show you something that we've been up to. I have my hat on this morning because it's raining and I didn't want it splashing in my face. So I'm going to show you what we've been doing in the woods. We actually have some buckets out here, and if you guessed it, yes, we are maple tapping and or tapping maple trees, or however you want to say it. We usually do this every year, and I'm going to show you our setup. You can also look back at one of my other videos. We actually did this a couple years ago. Walking up that hill. Okay. So we do this every year, but last year, for some reason, we did not tap trees, and I'm not sure why, but I ran out of maple syrup. So I told my husband, I'm like, we're tapping trees this year. I'm out of syrup. So we got it tapped, and so far, I have probably 2 pints of maple syrup. And I'm going to tell you about that in just a minute. So here we're walking up to one of our maple trees. This is a pretty good sized hard maple with 2 taps on it. I can't remember the size. He kind of distinguishes if he needs 2 or 1, but you can see the sap level down there. Now we've already had 10 gallon. We put them out this past Saturday, so 5 days ago. So we've already gotten 10 gallons plus whatever's in these buckets. I think we have 5 or 6 out. So we decided on this setup, food grade white buckets, drill the holes, get this tubing, and it goes on these spiles, which I found on Amazon, and I will try to see if I can find that link. It's been a while. We've we've tapped for many years now, so we just use the same setup. We probably will be buying some new hose though this year, because of course it does have to be cleaned. We try to rinse everything out. I don't like to wash it as much, just because I read that you don't want the soap flavor in there, so I did have to wash everything this year. But we've already tested the maple syrup that I've boiled down, and it's really good. So it doesn't taste like soap at all, so that's a plus. So over here is one, I'll show you, that just has 1 tap on it. You can tap some of the smaller trees, but you'll want to do 1, and you definitely want to try to do hard maples. You can do silver maples, but you actually get a silver film on the top of your sap whenever you are boiling it down. It's really neat. So here's an example of one. He just brought a, you notice we have to label these so they don't get used for other things, but he just brought a piece of duct tape out here and taped up that other hole, because most of our buckets lids have 2 holes in them. Now I think I bought these buckets online, but I want to say that we do have a couple that my husband found somewhere, maybe Menards or Home Depot. As long as they're the food grade buckets, you can use them. You don't want to use those orange or green unless they say food grade, but I don't think they will, because I'm pretty sure the food grade ones are like an opaque or they're white. So you definitely want to get food grade. You also want to check your tubing to make sure that it can be used for food, like liquids or soda, stuff like that. So that kind of tubing, you don't want to get any tubing, that's used for just non-potable water or whatever it might be. So you definitely want to check that out. It's a pretty inexpensive setup. We have some more trees over this ridge. I'm not going to go down there. I'm afraid I'll probably fall. And we have a couple down the driveway on some newer trees that we hadn't. I don't know if he tapped before, or if he said he tapped before or not. So we have those 2. But this is kind of the easy part. I take it then inside. I have my big stainless steel pot that I use for cheese making. Make sure it's really good and clean. And I can fit about 1 5-gallon bucket in that. And so that boils down all day long. And I get about 2 cups of maple syrup. So you'll notice it looks like water. You do want to filter it as well before you pour it in your, I want to keep saying render it down, to evaporate it. But that's our setup. It's pretty simple. You can buy evaporators. You can buy other catchment systems. But we like this one because it's closed, and so bugs don't necessarily get in there. We don't have chickens pooping in it and stuff like that. So no dirt and all that kind of stuff. Occasionally we get little particles of stuff, but we filter those out. But, you know, if a bird comes by, sits on a spile that a bucket's hanging on and poops in it, you know, your sap is no good. So, and that's not cool at all. So it's really fun to do this. You could, you know, if you have one tree in your yard, you could totally tap that maple tree if it's a hard maple, silver maple. Now, I'm pretty sure there's other trees you can tap, and I was gonna look those up. I want to say, because we have some, I want to say you can do birch. You might be able to do hickory. I'm not sure. Do your own research on that. Don't take my word for it. But I know there are other trees that you can render down, or you can evaporate and make syrup from. But I've never really tried the syrup from those trees other than the maple trees. And I'm not sure how much you actually get. I know you get, so the equation for the hard maple is for every 40 gallons of sap, you get 1 gallon of syrup. So for 5 gallons of maple sap, which looks like water, you get 2 cups of maple syrup. So I usually have a really thick measuring glass cup bowl thing beside where I'm boiling down, and then as it gets closer, because it doesn't take it long once it gets really, you know, really down there to the syrup stage, you can boil it too much and burn it. I have done that before. So once it gets down there, you really have to stay in the kitchen. Don't be like me and find other things to do. You really have to stay in the kitchen and pay attention to that. And then I usually will pour it in that measuring bowl, measure out how much I have. You know, if I just have a half a cup to go, pour it back in there, boil it. It does not take very long. So that's what we've been doing, and I'm excited because I put some in my tea this morning just to see. I really actually prefer my herbal tea in the morning unsweet. So I just wanted to try it though, because it's really tasty. But anyways, if you have any questions, be sure to leave them below. I'm going to try to remember and find the links to what we purchased, so you kind of have an idea. Maybe I'll find it local, which that would be really cool. And you might be able to figure something else out. If you tap trees, let me know what your setup is or what kind of trees you tap. And if you have any suggestions for me or anyone else. So be sure to leave that in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, don't forget to be lovely lights today.